Again.
Welcome back, everyone, to our second portion of HopeSpring's journey through the voices of those that are connecting with us through HopeSpring today. I welcome my guest speaker with me up here today, Adele. Um, and Adele, I'm wondering if you can kind of kick us off to let us know a little bit first about what the things you've been involved in for HopeSpring most recently. What have you been helping us with?
Okay, so we'll start. So I'm kind of historic here because I first got involved in Hope Spring in 2014, so a long time ago. And I was very lucky because I was able to connect with some people that had the same set of interests that I did, that were also what we're calling members. And one of the things that particularly two women and I spent a lot of time talking about was how when you have an overwhelming situation in your life, like a cancer diagnosis, you're not just dealing with the medical part of it, you're dealing with the whole set of issues and questions and pathways that you have no tools really to understand, much less navigate. And the key word that we ended up with was navigation. So when Hope Spring evolved and when the current board leadership came on, and particularly Sean Lowatsky, who's been the board president in an extraordinary way for the past while. Sean and I talked a lot about the value of the navigator. And we used as a model other cancer cause-related organizations, primarily in the U.S., that actually had staff navigator positions. So Sean tucked this away in his big brain and let it sit there for a while. He was figuring out where to go with it. And sure enough, he created a cancer navigator kind of a role that he's branded as the Cancer Care Concierge.
Yes.
And he phoned me out of the blue last summer and he said, "Remember all those conversations we had about navigation?" And I said, "Yeah." And he said, "Well, we're doing it." And I said, "Really? Why am I not surprised?" And then he said, "Do you want to help us get it off the ground?" And I had consulted with Hope Spring between 2014 and last year on some organizational issues. And I thought, oh my goodness, this is, as other people have said, sometimes the world just lands in your lap at the right time, right place, right situation. And so we've been working on developing and understanding what a cancer care concierge would look like in our community. So that's the biggest thing that I've been involved with.
Well, thank you for being part of that with us, because I know Sean, with that big brain, has been coming up with this idea as long as I've known him. So I really started that conversation. I met him in 2018, and he was noodling on this and noodling and trying to kind of formulate, well, what would this look like? What would it do? How do we fund it? How do we make sure that we can actually get this off the ground? Because there's no magic purse out there that's going to help give you the means to make this work. And how does it partner elsewhere within the community? One of Sean's biggest thoughts or words that I hear him say all the time is partner, partner. This partners with this, that partners with that. This partners with, when I talk to you, Adele, we talk about partners and partnership. And I think you bring part of launching the concierge role is again another testament to the partnership you've brought to bear for us at Hope Springs. Because you bring that consulting mindset and methodology, the approach to making things happen. You're a planner at heart. Whether you wear that like your your brand or not, but you are, and you're good at it, and you can organize things. You know how to kind of prioritize, but also what to cast out, because it was a good idea, but doesn't rank high enough. Because you think about where we're going with the cancer care concierge. What's the vision that you see?
So, there's two dimensions to that. So one of the vision pieces is where does it fit into the modern word ecosystem that we currently inhabit?
Yes.
And so figuring out who to partner with, how to partner with them, why to partner with them,
yes,
is one aspect of it. And the other piece in the vision is, what are we doing?
Yes.
How are we helping people? Why are we helping people? And what do they need help with that we haven't mapped out yet?
The so what? The so what?
The so what of it. So for two dimensions. So the original value that was associated with the concierge role was that medical resources, which, as we know in our province, are so scarce. And we don't have enough family doctors. We don't have easy access to certain specialists. We have long waiting lists. So can we take some of the load off of the medical professionals, and particularly what's called the psychosocial aspects of sickness? And these are incredibly important because people's ability to get better has to do with a lot of psychosocial factors. Do I have people that love me? Do I have people that I love? Do I know how to get from point A to point B in a safe way? You know, and sometimes you can talk to your medical professional about those things. Sometimes you can't. So part of the concierge program was thinking, can we take some of that load off people that are too scarce and too stressed so they can focus on what they do the best, that they can figure out what treatment plan you need, what medication you need, what additional consultation or imaging or whatever it is that you need. So part of it with the medical professionals is to take the psychosocial aspect off to free them from responsibilities that many take seriously, but they're not equipped to handle. And so that's part of the partnerships. Part of it is other agencies. There's other agencies that are doing a piece of the puzzle. Can we work with them to do other pieces? And the third part of it is sometimes people just know that they need something themselves. There's a little bit of keep going. Okay. And how can we be available to people who don't feel they can talk to their doctors, don't feel they can talk to anybody else, but let them know that we're here.
Right.
You know, so the Cancer Care Concierge Program needs to address relationships with all of those different. And one of the fun things that I've been doing is going out and having lots of meetings and lots of interviews and finding out, so what do you do? Like, how do you handle this? Who do you talk to? And we've been supported by some medical people that are invested in this idea. And I've learned that in Waterloo Region, we have the E-Center for Excellence, which is astonishing to me that we've had that kind of capacity invested in bringing the benefits of technology to the medical system. So all of a sudden they're helping us. Mm-hmm. The other thing that I've been dumbfounded to learn is that we're not the only ones that are interested in navigation. The whole community is trying to figure out navigation. So we have lots and lots of people that we can learn from and that we can connect to. And that's just going to make us stronger. So if we could figure out how to let other people that are best situated to do this piece, do that piece, in association with us while we do this piece that we're better situated for. So in terms of the partnership piece, it's a fluid and super interesting time because the needs are so high and the creativity that's being brought, particularly in water in the region. This is my plug for who we've got working here. Is exciting, and we don't hear enough about it. We just hear about the waitlist, the lack of resources, all the things that make us feel despondent.
So in a lot of ways, we're trailblazing, at least in Canada or this province, a different pathway forward. And, what I'm hearing you talk about is, as you're talking about meeting with different players and figuring out what they do, you're mapping out how does it all connect together. I'm envisioning something that we use at my workplace, which is a tool called ServiceNow and helps support when someone has technical issues, for instance. But you're building out that navigational system, and probably it will lead to knowledge documents and stuff that help us figure out how do we answer the similar kind of question in the future. How do we prevent problem questions? How do we help people just more easily get to what they need to down the road, as opposed to things being hard and being a struggle?
And I think so. I think we have to build that. But I think we also have to understand that, as with many of the things we've talked about, it's being a person at the other end of the conversation that's committed to providing help.
Yes.
And one of the exciting people that I've met is doing a community navigation program for the doctors at the boardwalk. So there's 2 medical buildings there, and they have a lot of family doctors there. So they've signed up 30 of the 40 family doctors to be part of their pilot. And we are exploring how we could work together with this community navigation pilot. And so in the past few weeks, we've decided we're going to pretend that we have a concierge, and we're going to see what we're doing together. And what I've discovered is sometimes what people need are hard life things. I don't have enough money for childcare. I used to be able to stay at home with my family, and I can't anymore because my treatments don't allow me to be there and also undergo treatment. So that's crunchy, that's life, that's hard to find an answer to because finding money is hard for everything. Transportation is a little bit easier. So there are some concierge concerns that are very intensive and involve a lot of time. There's one woman who's coping with a terrible cancer diagnosis in her early 30s and facing all of these things. At the other end of the spectrum is a professional consultant in his 60s, I think. We didn't get to age. And he's saying, I'm okay. I'm figuring out this cancer stuff. It hasn't gotten me down. I'm doing good things that are keeping me more or less on track. But I'm bored. What else can I do? How can I give back? I still want to feel useful and contributory. And so the concierge conversation with him is completely different. It's about fulfillment and growth.
Amazing. So, Del, when we started today, you talked about first discovering HopeSpring in 2014.
Yeah.
And that was because you were going through your own cancer journey.
Yeah.
Are you comfortable to share with us a little bit about that and what you used to HopeSpring services?
Well, I've always been kind of one of the healthiest people I know. So I've always lived on my energy, on my strength, on my resilience, and all of that. So when I learned about a pilot program that was being run through St. Mike's and Women's College when I was living in Toronto, they were trying to do genetic testing and genetic research into people from my cultural background, which is Eastern European and Ashkenazi in particular. And so I volunteered as a kind of community supporter. Like, sure, there's a pilot, there's a research study going, I'm happy to help. And so you could imagine my shock when I was the 2% that had the genetic mutation that they were testing for. And I thought, okay, so I have a genetic mutation, so I'm not perfect anymore, I guess. I guess that I have to figure that out, but I'm okay. I'm still healthy. And part of that was that they put me on an accelerated monitoring program. And my cancer story is one of good fortune, because if I hadn't have been part of that genetic testing program, I wouldn't be alive today. And I say that because the researcher who worked on developing the genetic testing told me that I wouldn't be alive today if I hadn't have been part of that. So, so that was my good fortune. So for a few years, I just had a lot of monitoring and testing. And then all of a sudden, at the end of 2013, I had my ovaries removed finally after fighting it for 5 years because I didn't want surgery. And then I discovered that incipient ovarian cancer in one of my tubes. And then a month later, we found breast cancer. So I became the poster child for genetic testing and early diagnosis. And being that, as you said, I'm a planner and an organizer and a doer. Like I'm happiest when I'm engaged, you know. So I learned about what was available, and I learned about HopeSpring, and I learned about other programs in the community. And again, I thought we're incredibly lucky because for a community this size to have these resources is noteworthy and special, and we shouldn't take it for granted. So I like like one of the previous people, I just thought I'll do everything. So I'll join support groups, I'll do Reiki, I'll do exercise programs, I'll do everything. And being a manager at heart, I decided HopeSpring was good at certain things and not good at other things. So I started trying to fix it.
Yeah, yes, and we're grateful. That's good. I didn't know all of your story.
You didn't know that?
Conversation. No. I knew a piece of it, but I didn't know where it began. And so, as you're talking about this, I think you're an incredible testament to leveraging opportunities in front of us to help us learn and know about ourselves. But then you've taken all of that knowledge from being part of that pilot to support your health, but also to support a whole host of other people. As an advocate for getting in front of things and to know yourself, to be involved, to try to find pathways to something that makes you well.
Well, when I was still a lot younger than I am today, and so I still had energy. You know, it's a different story as we go further along. And at that time, I just felt a big part of, for me, healing was giving back. And I was very excited to give back, and I picked ovarian cancer as the cause I was going to give back to, because everybody supports breast cancer, and not to diminish the importance of that support, but I felt it didn't need me. Whereas through one of the support groups, I met some tremendously exciting women who were struggling with ovarian cancer. So we created the Ovarian Cancer Support Group, and we built a relationship with Ovarian Cancer Canada for HopeSpring. And that was not a big step to go to advocacy. And I met the researcher because we went to Parliament one year and we decided to advocate for 10 million funding for ovarian cancer research. So however you kind of figure it out, because other people do other things. But I think for most of us, using what we've learned over our lifetime to strengthen other people, to strengthen causes that we believe in, and to give back makes us feel more optimistic about everything, because the other side of it is that we're always fighting with despondency and despair. That's part of the package. There's nobody that wakes up every single day and says, I'm good, I can do it.
No, it's definitely true. But we're talking about like finding your way towards the hope, right?
Yeah.
And using your strengths and your skills to bring you there. I think you let that be your shining light that drew you towards using what you're good at to bring more of that forward to the rest of the world.
And also connecting with people. I think for some people, when a cancer diagnosis hits their lives, they just want to retreat and they want to lick their wounds and they want to figure out, how am I going to endure this? What is it going to do to me, family, to me? And I think that's fine. Like, there's no one size fits all for anybody. And other people live on connections and live on people's energy. And I'm one of those. I like to be with people. I like to work together.
You get energy from those.
I get energy.
Extrovert. Yeah, that's amazing. I'm gonna leave you with one last question today, and it is if you can make a shout out to others there in the world to do something. What's that one call to action that you'd like to ask us those plugging in tonight?
That are plugging in today? I have 2 calls to action. One call is volunteer. You have people that need to be helped, that need your strength, that need your resources, that need your hand to hold. And don't think that that doesn't make a difference. It makes a huge difference, because we don't know what people are living with, and we don't know how much connection they have and how much connection they need. So number 1, find a place that you like HopeSpring, and volunteer. And number 2, when you're making the financial decision about who to support, think hard about what you want to have in the community. Don't just donate to the society for whatever, because you've always donated it. Think about, what do I want in my community? And I would make the appeal for HopeSpring, because HopeSpring is quite magical, that we have something that is dedicated to free and accessible and important services to people who are living with cancer or helping family members or loved ones that are living with cancer. We want that in our community, and we can't have it without our help.
Thank you so much. As always, thank you for being here tonight, Adele. You're a gem, and I can't wait to see what becomes of our concierge journey and what you watch. Thank you. Looking forward to its manifestation. Thank you, darling. Yes.
Yeah.